Swami. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swami Niti Namini. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sagitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sakagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namo Suti Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneswari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Mancha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Isvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraham Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So we will start today continue our session. So we finished 7 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, which has got 18 chapters. So let me start sharing the screen from the Veda Base website. So in the 7th chapter, we studied about the knowledge of the absolute. So first 6 chapters, in fact, from the 2nd to 5th chapter, so 2nd to 6th chapter. So in those 5 chapters, we understood completely about ourselves. So whereas in the so starting from the 7th chapter, and we will study also continuously up to the 12th chapter, everything about the God, the Supreme God. So we understand scientifically in this, like in the 2nd chapter, that we are not the body, we are the soul, and the soul is actually changing bodies. Even within this body itself is changing every day. So this body itself is not a constant one. So it's always daily it is changing. Every day we eat food, and every day the new molecules our cell is dividing. Our cell, like most of our cells in general, so they divide at least once a day, 24 hours, once a day it divides. But depending upon other cells, which organs those cells are made up of, those organs are made up of, depending upon that, some different times, but most of the in general, it is actually 24 hours a day, it is dividing. So that means each cell, we know that it has got nucleus, and in that all the genes and all the organelles in the cells, everything is actually, it has to divide like into 2, means completely one new set of cells has to form. So that means it has to get from the food what we eat. So all the needed nutrients, so like carbohydrates, fats, everything, proteins, all those things needed. So that's why Krishna is teaching us in Bhagavad Gita that, so it is actually those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, so the material body. So that is asata. Asata means it's the non-existent, means it is temporary. So that's what the understanding meaning is, that it is temporary. There is no endurance. So that means it is not permanent. Whereas for the soul, which is there in the body, there is no change. So that's what nasato vidyate bhavu, na bhavu vidyate sataga, ubayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tattvadarsi. So we understand very clearly, without any doubt, that we are not the body, we are the soul, and the body is changing. The body is keep on changing all the time. So then we need to understand about ourselves even more. So that's what we understood in the 2nd chapter itself. Krishna very clearly taught us, instructed us that even though we are the soul, even though we are not changing, even though we are the same all the time, na jayate miryate va kadasin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyago ajo nityaga sasvato yam puranu na hanyate hanyamani sarire. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. It has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Na hanyate hanyamane sarire. So when the body is slain, the soul is not slain. So that's what we are understanding. But the problem, what is the problem for ourselves? The problem is that we are in this body. That is the problem. Because the soul is always there. The soul can not be destroyed by anything. So, nainam chintanti sastrani, nainam dakati bhavaka, nachainam kledayanti apo, nasosayati marutra. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So nothing, the soul cannot be destroyed at all. But the problem is that the soul is inside this body, which can be destroyed. So when the body is destroyed, we are suffering. So dukkha doshanu darsana. So that is the knowledge. The knowledge is that what is real knowledge? So Krishna is teaching the knowledge is that realizing, understanding that we are in this temporary body and suffering because of birth, old age, disease, and death. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi. They are all for the body only. So birth is for the body is taking birth, and the body is the one which dies, and the body is the one which gets old, and the disease also comes to the body. But all along, the soul is actually suffering, dukkha. The dukkha is experienced by the soul, the distress. Dukkha means distress. Sukha means happiness. So that's what is the knowledge. So one who is able to realize, one who is able to see that we are struggling and suffering in this temporary miserable well. So that's what is known as dukkhalayam asasvatam. In general, what is happening in general in this world, we are very much occupied with our day-to-day work and a lot of other things, and we take it for granted that this life is going to be there forever. That's what our thinking in general. We don't see, we are not able to see how the time is actually destroying everything. So the time, as a function of time, everything is destroyed, completely getting destroyed. So if you are able to see with the eyes of this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, jnana chakshusagam, then we will be able to realize, we'll be able to understand that this life is temporary, and also we will be able to understand this life in this material world, as long as we are in this temporary body, this life is also miserable. That's why Krishna is teaching us that dukkhalayam asasvatam. But scientifically, there is a way to get out of this problem. So there is only one way. First thing is that we need to have the knowledge. Without having the knowledge, we don't know what is right, what is wrong. Otherwise, we'll be making up our own theories, our own understandings. So that's where a lot of problems. The problems, these things we cannot make, we cannot create our own understandings, our own knowledge. It is not possible. Somebody will say that there is soul, somebody will say there is no soul, and people will follow different beliefs, different faith, all such things. But there is truth is only one. The fact is only one. So that is what we need to understand. So based on the science, that's what is very important. This Bhagavad Gita is the science where Krishna is teaching very clearly that one should control the mind. So that's where the happiness lies. Happiness is simply the status of our mind. So if we are peaceful, we are happy. If we are disturbed, we are not happy. That's it. So how to achieve that peace of mind? So for that, there is a technical process is there. Krishna is listing in Bhagavad Gita. So that's what we studied at length also in the last session or before that. So in the 6th chapter, so that is known as Dhyana Yoga. So Dhyana Yoga is meditation. Before that, Karma Yoga. We also studied about the Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means, because we understand that we are not the body, we are the soul, but we are stuck inside this body and we are actually forced to act, forced to work. So that is the problem. That is karma bandha. Karma bandha means bondage to work. No one is free. Everyone is forced to work, forced to act. So that bondage to work. So that's what we need to free ourselves. We need to free ourselves from karma bandha, the bondage to work in this material world. So how we can do that? Only by ourselves not getting affected by the results. That means not getting attached to the results. So that is the only way we will be able to stop that force, which is forcing us to act. So everyone, so nahi kasyati kshanamapi jatu tishtati akarmakrit. Karyatege avasaga karma sarvaga prakriti jayipuli. So everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So it's a very important science. We cannot free ourselves even a single moment. Everyone is forced to act helplessly by the 3 modes of material nature. So how we can stop that force? So that force we can stop if we are able to find happiness within ourselves, not outside. Outside means if we are attached to material sense objects, and if we think that that's what brings happiness to us, so then it is not possible for us to free ourselves from bondage to work. Because as long as we need material sense objects, we want to enjoy material sense objects, we are attached to material sense objects, then we need to work to gain them. So whereas if we are very much satisfied with what we have, so that's what Krishna is teaching us there. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. So there is no duty. And also, a self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being. Naivatasya kritenato na kritenega kaschana nachasya sarvabhutesu kaschitartha vyapashe. That's why Krishna is teaching us that, therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty. For by working without attachment, one attains the supreme. So that's what. So we understand this is a material world, this is a temporary, miserable place, and we are struggling and suffering in this material world. So there is the knowledge. So we need to understand, we need to realize. So realizing that everything is here is temporary. So that's what is the knowledge. And also we are understanding from Bhagavad Gita, there is a permanent place where everything is happy, no problem at all. So everything is peaceful, blissful. So that's why if we are not attached to the temporary results in this world, all our gains temporarily in this material world, whatever we are gaining to lose. Ultimately at the end of our life, everyone is the loser. We can become billionaire, trillionaire, whatever it is, but at the end, when our life ends, so at that point of time, we have to leave everything here. And when we die, the soul only can go. That's it. The soul only goes to another body, another planet, another place, another life. Everything is different. But whatever we have here accumulated, whatever we think we own, actually everything we have to give up. Everything. So that's why why not we ourselves voluntarily attached to God and detached from this material sense objects. So that way, if we are voluntarily being detached, so then at the time of death, there is no need for us to come back here. So that's why without attachment, one attains the supreme. So for that, we need to actually control our mind. That's what is very important, mind control. That's what is the Dhyana Yoga. Because what is getting attached? Mind is getting attached to the sense objects. So this attachment is actually because mind, when the mind thinks about the sense objects, then when we decide that I want to have that, I want to enjoy that. So then attachment comes. That's where the Sangha comes. So when the mind thinks, so that's where the attachment comes. So dhyayato vishayan pumsaga sangaste supajayati. So when we actually, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. So while contemplating the objects of the senses, when we think about the sense objects, then attachment comes. What if we don't think about the sense objects? Then there is no attachment. So when attachment comes, what happens? From such attachment, kama, strong desire to enjoy those sense objects develops. That's what lust means. Lust here means the strong desire to enjoy those sense objects. And then from kama, anger arises, krodha. And from anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. When intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material. So this is what is happening in our life, in general, in this life, for everyone who has no knowledge of this Bhagavad Gita and who are very much attached to material sense objects. This is what is happening. So all the time we are losing our intelligence and we are actually struggling and suffering in this material way. So now, if we are able to focus that mind, our mind, on God. So what Krishna is teaching here, that what we studied in the Dhyana Yoga, that if you actually focus, so one should hold one's body, neck and head erect in a straight line and stare steadily at the tip of the nose. So again, so this is not correct. It's not steadily at the tip of the nose. It is not possible. It's going to strain and our eyes will get hurt. We won't be able to do. It will hurt our eyes. So look towards down. That's it. So thus, with an unagitated, subdued mind, devoid of fear, completely free from sex life, one should meditate upon me within the heart and make me the ultimate goal of life. That's what manasamyamya machitto yukta asita matparaga. So, and while doing that, what we need to do is that from wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So that's what. Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalam astiram tatastato niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasamnayat. So that's what is the chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So Krishna and Rama, you are calling Krishna, Rama is also Krishna only, his avatar only. So you are calling Krishna. So in that mantra, when you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, you are actually calling Krishna. So you are remembering Krishna. That means focusing the mind on Krishna. So that's why that is the way we can actually implement this particular instruction given by Krishna. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature. Because our mind is not in one place, it's going here, there, everywhere it keeps going. And when it thinks about something, it gets attached to that, then it brings distress. So in this process, when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, just fix our mind on that sound vibration. So that's the only thing we need to do. So that way, the mind, if it goes somewhere, one must certainly withdraw it. So wherever it goes, withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. So this is possible only like a training, like a practice, exercise. Like we go to fitness center and do exercise for the body. So then our body is fit actually. So like that, our mind, we need to keep our mind fit. So how we can keep our mind fit? By doing this exercise. From wherever the mind goes, bring it and again focus on that sound vibration. So that's what we studied about this in the process. But another question which Arjuna asks, so what happened if we are completely not successful in this life. And when we die, if we don't completely control our mind, so we understand that we are not going to lose anything. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So then he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. So we'll continue from where we left. Actually, that's what is going to happen. So that way, this progress, this spiritual progress. So what we are doing right now with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, so that is going to be permanent. So that's what is very important, because this gain we are not going to lose. So because on taking such a birth, he revives divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success. So that's why there is the way. So if we do that, in this whatever progress we make, so we are not going to lose anything. So it is a permanent gain. So that's what we are supposed to do with this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So next, actually, in this chapter, 7th chapter, we already studied. So just okay, so this chapter 7, knowledge of the absolute. So that's what is very important now for us to control our mind. We need to focus our mind on God. So that means we need to connect ourselves with the God. So without connecting ourselves with the God, it is not possible for us to control our mind. That means it's not possible for us to get freedom from this material bondage. Because this is a material world and this is a temporary place and miserable place, we have understood. And now we scientifically understand that there is God in control. So that's what he is teaching here. So now, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So that's what now here. So now you hear from me. So how you are going to get it? So that's what Krishna is teaching. And only out of many thousands, only one will endeavor for such perfection. Out of many thousands, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So the statistics is only 1 in 1,000 only can endeavor for perfection. So we are very, very rare. So that way we cannot expect everybody in this world suddenly change and follow Bhagavad Gita and understand everything and control mind and get freedom from this material bondage. If we expect, that's not going to happen. Statistics is only one in 1,000. So that way, Krishna is teaching us that we understood that there is para prakriti, apara prakriti. There is inferior nature and superior nature. So this earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, they are separated material energies. That is inferior nature. And besides this, there is another superior energy. So that is the soul. So which comprises the living entities. So that's what we understood. So, but Krishna is saying that of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. So this material world, everything is created and annihilated. We need to know everything has got birth and death. So not only for our body, even for this earth, for this solar system, for this universe, everything. We know that this universe was created at a certain point of time. Even with our modern science, we understand that it was created. It was not there forever. And it also is going to be getting destroyed. So that also we know that. And Krishna is saying that I am the source of creation and annihilation. So that way, he says very clearly that, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung upon a thread, strung on a thread. So that way, we understood all those things about the Maya, the 3 modes of material nature. So deluded by these 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. So then he says that this is consisting of 3 modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. So all these things we understood very clearly. But what is very important here is that there are 4 types of people who only approaches God. So, but others who are grossly foolish and the lowest among mankind, whose knowledge, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So that's why we don't expect everyone to follow this. So only if we are fortunate, if we get the knowledge, understand that this material world is temporary, and understand that we cannot lead a peaceful life in this world forever. So we have to just take this knowledge. And that's why here Krishna is teaching us that after many births, and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Again, he is saying that such a great soul is very rare. So even 1 in 1,000, that's what we studied, only 1 in 1,000. So now we understood about that I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. So that's what he says. And men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and their fruits are limited and temporary. Antavatu palam tesam tadbhavati alpametasam. And I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. From them I am covered by my internal potential, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. Naham prakasaga sarvasya yogamaya samavritagam mudoyam nabijanati yogo mam ajam avyayam. So like that Krishna is teaching. And intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. That's why Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashitya Yadantiye Te Brahma Tadviduh Kritsnam Adhyatmam Karmachakilam. So Jara Marana. So Jara means old age, Marana means death. So that's why in order to get liberation, Mokshaya means liberation. Jara Marana Mokshaya means to get liberation from old age and death. Mamashitya Yadanti. So they take refuge in me. Mamashitya Yadanti. Yadanti means endeavoring. So endeavoring for liberation. So that way, with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, when we actually take refuge in God, so then we can get liberation from this material bondage. And Krishna has used some certain words here in this 29 and 30th slokas. Like he used the word Te Brahma Tadvidugu Krishnam. So he used the word Brahma. So they understand. So they are Brahman. And they Tadvidugu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma. They understand what is Adhyatma, what is Karma, all such things they understand. That's what he says. And in the next sloka also he says that Adibhutam, Adidevam, Adiyajnam. Sa Adibhuta, Adidevam, Adiyajnam. So they understand Ye Vidugu. Ye Vidugu means they know. They know what is Adibhuta, Adidevam, Adiyajnam. And Prayana Kale, they at the time of death. Prayana Kale means at the time of travel. So that's what Prayana. Prayana means at the time of travel means the soul is traveling. The soul is leaving. So Prayana Kale Picha Mam Te Vidur Yukta Chetaska. They understand me. Mam Vidur. Mam Vidur means they know me. So at the time of death, we should know God. That means we should remember God. So then we can actually go to God. So that's what in the next chapter, what we are going to study today. So that is chapter 8 is the attaining the supreme. So in this chapter, just give me 1 second. Okay. So here Arjuna is actually asking a question based on what Krishna explained at the end of the 7th chapter. So Arjuna is inquiring, what is Brahman? Kim tat Brahma? Kim Adhyatma? Kim Karma? Purushottama? Adibhutam cha kim proktam? Adidevam kim uchyate? Adiyajnaka katam kotra degesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katam nyayosi niyatatma. So what is Brahman? Kim tat Brahma? What is Adhyatma? Kim Adhyatma? What is Karma? Kim Karma? Kim means what? Kim Brahma? There is Kim tat Brahma, Kim Madhyatma, Kim Karma, Purushottama. Adibhutam cha Kim Proktam. What is called as Adibhutam? Adiyajnam. So what is Adiyajnam? What is Adibhutam, Adideva, Adiyajnam? All such things Arjuna is asking. For that, Krishna is explaining in the first two slokas. He explains all the answer, all the questions. He gives the answer except the last one. The last question is that, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? So that's what is very important. Prayana Kale means at the time of death to know him. So for that, actually, there's a very important question. So for that, Krishna is taking almost about close to 70 slokas to answer for that one question. So all other questions. So what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain to me. So many question marks. Question. And who is the Lord of sacrifice? And how does he live in this body? O Madhusudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? And Krishna is explaining, as I mentioned, answers everything in these two slokas except this last question, for which he takes the entire 8th chapter, the entire 9th chapter. So that's what we are going to study. So here Krishna is saying that the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman. So that means the soul. The soul is indestructible. So Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Paramam means transcendental. Aksharam means indestructible. So Aksharam Brahma Paramam. So that is Aksharam means that is Brahman. So that is what is called Brahman. It is called Brahman. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Swabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. And his nature, his Swabhava. Swabhava is his nature is known as Adhyatma. So Swabhavo Adhyatma Uchyate. So that's why Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavo Dhyatmam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhavakaro Visargaga Karma Samjitaga. So the action pertaining to the development of material bodies of the living entities is called karma. So the action pertaining to the development. So even there is an action to create our body itself, which is created by the three modes of material nature. So we are the soul and we have this swabhava. So we have our own nature. Each and every individual has got its own swabhava. And when the body is created, the karma is starting. Then of course we are using our motor nervous system in our body with our legs, hands, voice, everything. So karma. So that's what is known as action. Any action we do, that is what is karma. And the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta. That is the material manifestation. Earth, water, fire, air, space, all such things. So the physical nature, so that is what is called Adibhuta. And the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods, like those of the sun and moon, is called Adideva. We are going to study about the universal form, Viswarupa, in the 11th chapter. So that's what Krishna is saying, that Adideva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, I am called Adiyajna. So Krishna is the Lord of the sacrifice. So he is the enjoyer. So in the 5th chapter we studied, Krishna said that Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Mageswaram. So I am the enjoyer of all yajnas. So all the results belong to Krishna. So we think that we own here. Nobody owns anything here. Everything is owned by God. That's what we need to understand. So only we claim that this is owned by me, but in reality, we don't want anything. When we die, then somebody else is going to take that and they are going to own. So, but nobody is going to own anything permanently here. Everything is permanently owned by God. So that's why he is saying that these two slokas are very important. In the 5th sloka, Krishna is teaching that, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So if you remember Krishna at the time of death, so that means we are going to go to him. So that's why Anta Kalecha Mameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram Yap Prayati Sa Madbhavam Yati Na Asti Atra Samse. So if you remember him, Antakala means at the time of our death. So at the end of life, Antakala. So if we remember him, Mam eva smaran means if one remembers me, so then he will come to me, there is no doubt. So on whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So that's what we need to understand. Our next body, our next birth, what we are going to get. We understand until now that we are not the body, we are the soul, and the bodies keep on changing. Similarly, at the time of death, there is another body. So it's very easy, very simple, very scientific to understand that after death there can be another body, because in this body itself we are changing bodies. In this life itself we are changing bodies. So it's not difficult to understand that at the time of death we will get another body. So that way, what it all depends upon the status of our mind, what our mind thinks, what our mind remembers at the time of death. So that's what is going to be our next body. So that means this life, the time what we have in this life, it should be fully used to actually focused, trained. That means our mind should be trained to remember Krishna at the time of death. So that way we will not take only, if we remember Krishna, then we'll get into the spiritual world. We will not take another birth in this material world. Otherwise, if we remember anything else other than Krishna, then we will get that. That, of course, in this temporary world, miserable world, material world will come back. That we are going to study in the coming slokas. He is saying that. So, therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. So, tasmat sarvesu kalesu mamanasmaradhyudyacha mayarpita manobuddhir mamevesisi asamsayagam. So, with your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So, now we understand why we need to connect with God. That's what is very important. So, this is science. So with the science of Bhagavad Gita, if we connect with God, if we remember him at the time of death, then we'll go to him. We cannot simply say that like there is no God, there is, so all those things we are going to study in the coming chapters. So that is fully divine way of thinking. We should be able to use our scientific knowledge to understand that there is a creator, so there is a designer. So everything is in this world is acting as per the design actually. So that's what we need to do. So that way he is saying that he who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena. Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa Nanya Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanu Chintayan. So that's why one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, and who is beyond all material concepts, and who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. So that if we do, so that means this 10th sloka, Krishna is teaching very clearly, one who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of God. Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena Bhaktya Yukto Yoga Balena Chaiva Bruvor Madhye Pranamavesya Samyak Satam Param Purusham Upaiti Divyam. That's what he is teaching. So that way, this is what I shall now briefly explain to you, this process by which one may attain salvation. That's what Krishna is explaining. So that is, the yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements. We don't have to worry. When we study this Bhagavad Gita, when we get this knowledge, when we realize that we are not the body, we are the soul, and Krishna is the super soul, And when we are able to develop that love towards God, that's what is very important. That's what is known as bhakti. So then these material attachments will automatically go away from us. We don't even think it's going to be just going away from us. We don't have to struggle at all. So that's why we need to do that. So closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life here at the top of the earth, one establishes himself in yoga. So then by after being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, so the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and quits his body, so he will get the spiritual path. But this sloka, he says very clearly in the 14th sloka, Ananya Chetaga Satatam Yomam Smarati Nityasaga Tasyagam Sulabhaga Partha Nityuktasya Yogita. So for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So that's what is the main thing. So we need to always get ourselves connected with God. Then what is the way to connect with God? Always remembering this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. If we keep studying, this is the one subject which will never be boring at all. Any number of times you study, repeat these slokas and repeat and understand, we will never feel bored at all. It is because it's continuous source of enjoyment. Susukam karta. So that way we will be able to connect with God all the time. And then of course chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that way when we develop that love towards God, so then we can actually go to Him. So for one who always remembers me without deviation, I'm easy to obtain. So that's what we study. So then after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary well, which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. So that's what is very important. So we will not come back. Once we take birth in Krishna's well, in spiritual well, then that is going to be the permanent. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, even in the material world also there is highest planet and lower planets, hellish planets, heavenly planets, all those things are there in the material world. All are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode never takes birth again. So that's what is very important. So he will not come and take birth again. So this slokas, I think it takes a lot of time for me to explain these calculations about Brahma's day and here all those things. So which we will continue from our next session next week, because there is a lot of calculations involved here to understand about the Kalpa, Brahma's day and night and what's happening in this world. Big Bang, Big Crunch, all such things. This world is created, annihilated, to understand it. So we will I think it will take next session, we will go through it fully. Now let us actually do this practice of remembering him, so that this is the only way to control our mind. So focusing our mind on the sound vibration. So that's what earlier I have explained last week also. In the last session, we know how to chant. So just focusing our mind on the sound vibration. So that means wherever our mind goes, just bringing it back and focusing it on that sound. So this is over a period of time, if we train our mind to do that, then the mind is not going to go anywhere else. Afterwards, if you want to make our mind to wander here and there, then we need to practice again to do that. Otherwise, mind won't do that. Mind is one thing. Whatever it is practiced, it will do. That's it. Since all these lives in the past, we let our mind to wander here and there. So that's why it is doing like that. And in this practice, it will just stay in one place. So let us do that, and then we will discuss questions. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Radhanath Swaminiti Namini. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumilitamena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Yeah. So, Kerry, you could hear everything, understand everything today.
Yeah, I could hear everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. About Rohit.
I have,
Yeah, you have questions? Yeah, please tell me.
yes, before you started the mantra, you were saying a different mantra or a prayer or something I haven't heard before.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, I was saying a prayer. So that is basically this Bhagavad Gita comes through a disciplic succession. So that's what like parampara, what you call it as a parampara. So basically you are saying, I'm saying that mantra to pray to my guru who taught me Bhagavad Gita and also his gurus. So there is this is there in the Bhagavad Gita as it is a book. In the very first page, introduction, it's there in the introduction part. So some of them is there. So basically you are just praying to all the acharyas, what you call them as acharyas, who have the teachers. Basically acharya means the teachers, the gurus. Yeah. That is.
Thank you.
Thank you. And yeah, Rohit Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you could understand everything today clearly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. I could understand everything.
Okay. So Karan Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you want to say anything?
No, Prabhu. I think that's from me. Just another question. I think you will have 3 multiple recordings for this meeting, right? Because it's stopped in the middle.
No. I am every time pausing the recording. It will be a single recording.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it will be. I will upload it today itself. Maybe.
Okay.
It will take some time for it to like convert in my computer. Then I will upload. Yeah, it will be a single recording only. Yeah. Yes, it's just I paused. When I say pause the recording, it says that recording stopped. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So we will again see the next Sunday. Okay, the same time.
Also, Bala Prabhu, it will be good if you put the link of your YouTube channel in the Zoom chat.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I'm going to do that. So you said that we are forming a group me, correct? Is it something possible, group me, or so something where I can send, where everyone can access it, or I don't know, whatever it is. I will. Oh, you mean the YouTube channel in this Zoom chat? That's what you are saying, correct?
yeah.
Yeah, I will. I don't know the channel right now, what it is. So I will figure it out and then I will do it. Maybe I will send it to you. Maybe next time I will definitely do that. So it
Okay,
is.
perfect.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. I have it in my like YouTube app. I just stored it, but it's not giving me. I will definitely figure out a way. By next time, I will definitely do that. Okay. Yeah. So it is online Bhagavad. Okay, I will find out. I will ask Timir Prabhu to help me in that. Okay. So again, we'll see again next week. Okay.
Right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.